Guru in the house.
All right. Now, all right. Lee, thank you very much for this interview and your time.
Yes.
So we are today at 7 May 2014 at the Dead Sea in Jordan.
Yep.
For the people who don't know you at this time,
right.
Can you tell me who Lee Thomas is?
Well, when it comes to vitiligo, just in general, because I got a huge resume. Man.
Yeah.
No, I'm a broadcaster, a newscaster from the United States in the city Detroit, Michigan. I'm a morning show host, so I anchor the news, or a news presenter, or however you call it, with whatever country you're from. I cover entertainment as well. I'm an entertainment reporter and movie critic, so I interview celebrities and stuff like that. But also, I'm a guy who's been living with vitiligo for over 20 years. It's been a long time now. I got it when I was 25, so 22 years I've had vitiligo, and then I wrote a book about it called Turning White. That book got global attention and ended up on a lot of talk shows and everything, and I have become the spokesperson for vitiligo for a couple of different organizations around the world. So I get to speak up on behalf of people like us.
That's cool. And can you tell us how your vitiligo actually started?
When I first got vitiligo, I got it. The first thing I noticed was a little patch on my scalp, back part of my scalp. I was in the barber chair and he's cutting my hair, and he's and when you're done, he gives you a mirror and says, "Go ahead, check it out." So I go to check it out, and there's a big spot right here. And I'm like, "Man, you nicked me, man." He's like, "I don't do that. You know how barbers are. I don't do that." And I said, "No, man, you nicked me right there." He goes, "No, that's a spot on your head, because I don't make mistakes." I go, "Yeah, you did." Anyway, I look in the mirror real close, and there's a white spot on my scalp, and there's a big one, probably the size of a dime, an American dime. And then, and so I said, "You're right." So I went home and I did what any grown man would do. I called my mom. I said, "Mom, I got this thing on my scalp." And she called it a stress mark. There's not a lot of education about vitiligo. So she said it was a stress mark, and it would eventually go away. And Mom was right. It did go away. Both of them went away. But then another one came up on my hand. Another one came up on this side of my scalp. Another one came up on the corners of my mouth and right at the crest of my nose right here. And then I knew that it was a real problem. So that was when I was 25, probably 1993-ish.
All right. So you went to the doctor, diagnosed by vitiligo?
I actually, when I first got it on my scalp, I didn't go to the doctor. But by the time all this other stuff started happening, a few months later, I did go to the doctor. And that's when the guy said I had vitiligo. And he said, "You have a disease called vitiligo. Could mean all your pigment's going to go away, and there's no cure for it." And he kept talking, right? He's like, blah, 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 blah. But when he said there was no cure, I didn't hear anything else. I was like, what did he just say? And he's still talking, la, la, la. There's treatments and all this stuff. And so I had to stop him and go, "Can you back up to the part where you said there's no cure?" And I was working in New York at the time. I was on the #1 station in New York, WABC, on the #1 newscast, the 5 o'clock newscast in New York City. I was 24, 25 at the time, completely freaked out. I thought my career was, going to be over. And the spot on my hand didn't get much worse. It turned into just a little bit bigger, one spot on my hand, which I could cover. But then I started getting them in other places, and it was starting to get weird. And then I started getting bigger ones on my face, and it was really starting to concern me then, and I completely freaked out.
Okay. Yeah. And you have now vitiligo for a very long time, many years. We all know that you have done some treatments some has been successful, other has been not so successful.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit what you all did, kind of treatments, and how your experience were in those years?
I tried everything, I tried anything I could find. I bought this oil online, and I put it on, and it literally burnt me. In one day, I put it on. You're supposed to go in the sun. I put it on, go in the sun. I wake up the next morning, and I got these red little whelps on my face. It burned me really bad, so bad I couldn't go to work the next day. I had to take a few days off for it to clear up. It was terrible. I bought this pill you could take that was supposed to make it come back, and nothing happened. By the way, after the burns went away on my face from that oil, pigment did come back, but then a week later they were gone.
Yeah.
I tried Puva. I tried that. I tried God, what's that stuff? Protopic. I tried. I was one of the first people in the trial phases of the excimer laser. I tried that, and all of those different treatment protocols through the doctors at Henry Ford, where I go, Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit. Very good protocols, and for 80% of the people, they find some success. For me, I found little success, and the success I did find went away when I stopped doing the treatment. Right. So I tried a variety of things.
Okay, so today we are now in Jordan. You are here for the treatment by Dr. Schallreuter for the second time.
Yeah.
Most of the people knew you are completely white.
Yeah.
They have seen you completely white. You have gained your pigment back for quite a lot amount of it. So can you say, like, now the treatment that you're having now by Dr. Schallreuter in Jordan, that's the best treatment that is offered in the world at the moment?
In my opinion, it's the most effective treatment that I have found for me. And I was a person who had completely lost all my pigment. So that's saying a lot. And I pretty much given up on treatment altogether. I was like, it's just going to do what it's going to do. Either I'm going to turn all the way white or it's going to stop or whatever. And this treatment, I mean, you can see, or pull up a picture, you'll find it, and people can take a look. I was all the way white, completely gone, void of pigment. And now my pigment's coming back, and I feel like I'm maybe 65, 70% back right now.
That's amazing.
So this is the most success I've found. And I remember talking to her, going, you know, don't tell me you can, because I'm pretty straightforward when it comes to speech. And I'm like, don't do that. And she's like, do not do what? And you know how she is. I said, don't give me hope and dash my hope, because it's happened too many times. I've tried everything.
Yes.
And she goes, I can help you if you want to be helped. Yeah. And that was my decision at that point, is because I was white, it was uniform, I was fine. My decision was, did I want her help or not?
Yes.
And so many people are following my story that if there is hope out there, it was my obligation to at least try. So I gave it 2 years. This is the 2 years, 65, 70% repigmented. So I would say this is successful. And I think in the next few months, I'm going to see a lot more pigment come. This is my second trip to the Dead Sea. Yes. So I really think that this could be what some people are looking for. It takes dedication. I mean, we both know it takes dedication.
Absolutely.
And time, but it works.
Yeah. I think that many people don't know about the Dead Sea and even on the treatment of Schallreuter. The people they know about this treatment find it quite expensive.
Yeah.
Now, as far as you know, we have to pay this treatment by ourselves.
Right.
What do you think that governments should do about this? Because vitiligo is really a cosmetic problem, they say, but it's really a physiological as well. So
yeah.
Can governments do something to people to maybe
to help?
To help, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is where the biggest fight should be waged next. And I was having conversations with some heads of vitiligo organizations to put a new direction on the way we're going, because a lot of people do categorize it as a cosmetic disease, and because it's a cosmetic disease, they don't devote any money, time, research as much as they could. And in a lot of ways it is cosmetic.
Yes.
But to me, it almost goes into the mental disorders, meaning depression, anxiety, all of the things that go along with having to deal with this disease, because I know a lot of people go through what I call the psychological warfare in their mind. And mental disorders are something that we in America are having to deal with our gun control laws and with our the way that we handle our mentally disabled people in our country. The combination of the two are causing violent situations that could be avoided if we paid more attention to people's mental health.
Yes.
So in my opinion, that is the direction to go when it comes to this disease, because even now, we've talked to people who had, they cover, they don't want people to see it. They have anxiety, they have depression, they have points where they don't go outside, they don't want to deal with other people. It's really a mental struggle when you get a disease like this. So I think those two things, the physical aspect of it may be cosmetic, but the mental aspect changes the nature of how someone has to deal with the disease and have a good life, because that's what we're talking about. Is
yes.
Every government wants their citizen to have the best possible life they can have.
Right.
That's what we're talking about here, and mental health is going to be one of those things that's going to be in the forefront as as a human species goes forward, I think it's going to be the biggest thing, because we move away from manufacturing into a more technical age where people have to use their mental acuity, their thought process, their emotions to deal with things. I think that's going to be one of the things that's going to be at the forefront of what humanity has to deal with. Not to big picture it, but that's just the way I see it.
Yeah, all right. What do you think that the future of vitiligo has to offer? Like, what do you think, like, we have a cure in 5 years, like 10 years, or what's your purpose on that? I mean,
yeah, I think things have changed. They don't change quickly, you know. Things don't change fast. I wish
especially
they would.
for people with vitiligo
who have it right now.
Enough.
I know.
Yeah.
I wish things would change quicker, but I really think that the future is bright. On different parts of the world, different things are happening. And it's like a confluence of events, you know, where this is happening over here and this is happening over here. One day these things are getting closer together, and these doctors are starting to talk to each other.
Yes.
And the more these doctors talk to each other, the more, and the patients, don't get me wrong, a lot more patients, people who have vitiligo, are becoming vocal. When I wrote my book, 2007 is when my book came out, I didn't realize no one had ever really talked about having vitiligo in a public forum, and it got so much attention. And I continued to speak about it because, you know, it's my struggle, and it also represented so many people. So I think that as more people do blogs and talk about the subject in their different countries around the globe, that I think that synergy is going to all come together to where these doctors are going to get that formula right, where it might not take 2 years or 3 years. It might be a 6-month process where you get your pigment back a lot quicker.
Yes.
That's what I believe. Next 10 years, I would love to see that.
All right. We all know many people has done the research, I guess, on the internet, and they found the company Clinivel and the drug Scenesse.
Yeah.
It's promising. It's quite promising. We have seen the interview with Clinivel as well.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think Clinivel, the Scenesse product, I think it's really promising. I don't know. I've looked at some of the clinical trials, and they look promising as well. I've talked to the company multiple times throughout the years. I would love to see them work in what do you call it, in Congress, in continuity with other protocols around the world. Wouldn't it be great if Clinivel and Professor Schallreuter got together, because that Scenesse actually sparks your body to create more pigment, and this helps, you know,
the natural pigment gaining back,
reduce that O2, that H2O2.
Yeah, right.
So putting those two things together seems like the perfect combination.
Yeah.
So I think once they start getting approved around the world, that Clinivel will be part of the protocol, but I don't think it's the end-all be-all solution. It's just part of the protocol. There are other doctors that are trying to figure out what is that end-all be-all. Why does this happen?
The root of the cause.
Yeah. What is the cause of this? And those are the ones that are going to really change those things. But I think for a treatment protocol, that Scenesse will be able to enhance any treatment protocol if you add it to the mix with whatever you're using. You know, the PUVA, the eczema, this with Professor Schallreuter. Then I think it's very promising. Scenesse is. It's just getting approval from different countries, different governments, and all of those is so difficult. So
that's true.
I think it could be very, very promising for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think we have to wait for that a little bit more.
I would love for it to happen soon. I keep saying, when is it going to happen? It's been, I think I've been talking to these guys for, what? God, 3 years now.
If you read on Facebook or on blogs, everybody is asking Clinivel actually, when are you releasing it actually?
When?
People are actually hopeless to have some kind of solution, you know?
They can't wait.
As you know, like, people are always staring at people who has vitiligo.
Yeah.
So what kind of mindset should people with vitiligo have? If you know, it's really a sociological problem.
Right.
And what do you suggest, like, kind of mindset?
Well, it's a couple of things. It's a couple of things to having the right, I wouldn't even say right, a healthy mindset. You know, there is no right or wrong when you're faced with something you've never faced before. You handle it how you handle it, you know. You may freak out a little bit. You may completely lose it for a little while. And that's okay. Just don't stay lost, you know. Yeah. The mindset, the healthy mindset I would recommend is to find your strength. If your strength comes from family, if it comes from, education, which hopefully comes from both. It can come from a variety of places, but firmly get a grasp of who you are beyond what your face looks like. And once you get that firm idea of who you are in your head, no matter what people say or do to you, and then branch out from there. And the education is definitely a part of it. You know, you educate yourself about the disease so that you can in turn educate others about the disease. And when you start educating others, that's when things start to change.
So it's basically sharing your personal experience of the disease.
Yeah,
it makes the pain a little bit light. That's what exactly
you share it in a community environment with other people who have the disease, and then you branch out of that community and start sharing it with others. And then when everybody knows what it is, then it's not a big deal anymore. Fear comes in, and the misunderstandings come in. Is when people don't understand it. Even when it comes to just race in general, that's where it comes from. People look at another person who has darker skin or does things differently than they do, and they look at that different ethnicity and they go, well, they're not us. But when you start to see the commonalities rather than the differences, when you start to see that they're a lot like you and yet they're different, then it becomes a mutually beneficial place. It's like America. I mean, we're a melting pot, so we're trained that way. But I think, you know, that's part of it is getting comfortable with self so you can educate others about self, and then you start seeing yourself in them and they see themselves in you. And then it becomes a commonality where you get the compassion and all that stuff, you know. Yeah. But that's a process.
That's a process.
I was in church once, and I was sitting in front of this little girl, and this is funny. She taps me on the shoulder, and I turn around, and she goes, "What's wrong with your face?" And I go, "I have a disease called vitiligo. It just makes your skin turns colored. It doesn't hurt or anything." She goes, "Okay." 5 minutes later, she taps me on the shoulder. She goes, "So what's wrong with your face?" And I go, "I have this disease called, we just talked. Vitiligo. It doesn't hurt or anything." She goes, "Oh, okay." And I could tell she still didn't really get it. So she said,
especially for children, it's hard to understand.
5 minutes later, same little girl. Boop, boop, boop. Yes. "So what's wrong with your face again?" I said, "I have this disease called vitiligo." And she said, "And it doesn't hurt or anything." She says, "This to me this time." Right. I said, "No, it doesn't hurt or anything." She goes, "It actually looks good, cool." I said, "Thank you. It does look kind of cool." She says, "Can I sit by you? You want to go to dinner with us after church? We're going to dinner." I said, "I don't know. You have to ask your mom, your dad, if I can go." But, you know, it's funny because it took 3 times. But on the 3rd time, when the little girl got it, she got it. And then it didn't matter anymore. No. I was just another dude in church who she wanted to go have lunch with, you know, or dinner with or something. And that lesson to me keeps being told. And it's funny because it always comes from kids. That lesson always comes from kids.
It's always an approach you make by yourself to kids or other people.
Because an adult would never do that. An adult would never tap you on the shoulder and go, "What's wrong with your face?" Because we're too...
Well, some do, but...
You know, some do. Some do. Most don't.
Most don't. Yeah.
Because, you know, kids don't mean any harm.
No.
Adults have malice and intent and all these things that kids don't have. Kids are just pure honesty. And she was just really like, "Hey, what's wrong with your face?"
Yeah.
So
that's curious.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if someone went to the doctor today, and in the Netherlands or somewhere else in the world, and the doctor told them you have vitiligo, and we have no cure at the moment for you, what would be your message for those people?
Yeah, that's funny because a lot of doctors don't have that bedside manner. They just go, "You have this disease, there's no cure. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
I can give you some of this."
Yeah. So what would be your motivation kind of line for those people who just went to the doctor and find out I have vitiligo?
My recommendation would be first to the doctors. Don't spit it out like that. Just don't spit it out like that. Say, you have a disease called vitiligo. This is what it is. This is the treatments for it. There are a lot of people in the world that have this disease that live healthy lives, like this person, this person, this person, this person, and this person. They're really close to resolving this situation, but right now there is no cure. Have a little bit more compassion when you're saying it. And to the patient, I will say there's hope, and that there are a lot of people like you and me around the world who have found success with treatment. So seek out your treatment, get your information together. You know, there's a lot of information on the internet, and that's all it is information. Make sure you back it up with finding people who've actually gone through the procedure.
Yes.
And do that. Do your research, do your due diligence, and then pick the procedure that is best for you.
Yes.
And go for it, and stay hopeful. You know,
Yeah, that's
try
the
to
most
stay
important.
hopeful, because that's when you feel like there's nothing left and you just give up. That can be liberating in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
It can be liberating. And on the other hand, it can be defeating. It depends on how you approach it. But I say stay hopeful and know that no matter what it is your face looks like, you're still you, you're still loved, people still dig you, and life will go on. Definitely. That's just something you have to deal with. You think of people who have cancer, or people who lose a limb, or people who cannot function because of a disease they have. You have a disease that still has you walking, talking, loving your family, giving people hugs, still enjoying the beautiful sun, and the ability to search out a cure.